Hey family, hey, happy Monday, Tuesday, Monday. Let's share. I'm late. I'm like 2 hours late. But I've had a kind of crazy day. So please share. I won't be on live. I mean long. But I wanted to share what I came up with. Hey. And I have a different topic today. Which is I guess I didn't think it's still Monday. Thank you. Thank you, Pastor. It is still Monday. I don't know. It don't feel like a Monday to me. It's just my Monday has been crazy. Um it's just been a crazy day. But I'm glad to be in the land of the living. I'm glad to be alive. And I have something I want to talk. So please share this. Because most of us, hey Jackie, overseer, share this. Wake up, my friend Ebony. Tell her I am on. I'm definitely gonna get in trouble tonight. I'm going to get in trouble tonight. I already know it. Last week people removed me as friends on Facebook, so we'll see what happens this week. I'm gonna come live tonight and probably Wednesday or Thursday again, because I'm not gonna get through all of my 10 reasons tonight because I don't want to be on long. But share. I promise this is going to bless you tonight. And I promise this is going to get me in a lot of trouble. I promise. But hopefully my Vibe family is on and they got my back. All right. People don't, they said I said too much. They said they said I am uh uh dividing the church or whatever that means. But tonight I promise you, because as a leader, all right, as a leader, I've been very transparent with my life. I'd be very transparent with what I have going on. I try to give you transparency. I try to live my life through open lens and show you some of the downfalls and some of the triumphs that I face. My triumphs and my falls, I try to share with you in a very transparent way. Like last week, was it, when I talked about me having ADHD? That's the first time I've shared that. But I know that there are other leaders that are dealing with ADHD like I am, and I was wondering why I wasn't as productive as I wanted to be. I'm a very busy person, but busy does not always mean productive. And that is what I had to go through. I went through this phase where I just felt like I'm always doing something. I overcommit. I help everybody out. I help others before I help myself. And I'm thinking I'm crazy. And the whole time is I just got a little touch of ADHD. That's all. It was hard at one point in my life. It was very hard for me to sit still. So I could be sitting in a chair. I have to rock. I have to do something. My doctor is just laughing at me like, you just got ADHD. Here, this Adderall. Take it and go about your business and be blessed. That's what my doctor was telling me. My doctor was like, you just take this Adderall. You're fine. Here's 10 milligrams and go on about your business. Do what you got to do. It's perfectly fine. And there are a lot of us that deal with stuff like that, and we don't know what's going on. We don't know. You're over hyper, you're over productive, and you don't understand why. That is one of the reasons I had to deal with that the hard way, where I know what's going on with me now. But tonight, that's what I want to talk about. Tonight, I want to talk about grief, right? But I don't want to talk about grief from the lens of death. When we say grief, we automatically think that grief has to deal with someone dying in your life. I'm not talking about death at all tonight. That is not what I'm talking about. I'm not even going to mention it one time, because there's other things of grief, and you're leading through life, through business, through different things. You're leading, but you're grieving. And I want to talk about 10 reasons why you're grieving, and it's not about death tonight. Because I went through this, and I'm not talking about a person. Now, I recently went through a bout with grief with a person. All right. Everybody know my niece passed away. I'm not even talking about that. That was traumatic. That was a lot. I'm not talking about that. But it is very possible that you're grieving and it has nothing to do with the person dying. But there are some things in your life that you're missing and it caused you to grieve. I went through this, very transparent, where last year I lost probably one of my closest friendships. And the whole time A lot of it was pride, misunderstanding, all of that kind of stuff. And I've never talked about this publicly or really privately. So I'm dealing with the grief of a friend that was very close to me. We're no longer in fellowship anymore. And I was grieving. I was going through these different steps. And I realized talking to my therapist that I was going through a whole grief process of our relationships. And that is one of the things, so that affected the way that I ministered. That affected the way that because that hurt me. That hurt me to my core. Someone who's there, you're doing life together, you're friends, and then boom, you're no longer in that area of relationship anymore. You're no longer friends. You're no longer talking. That is a grieving process that you go through. You still got to preach. You still got to go to work. You still got to lead your business. You still have to do all of this, but you have changes that have occurred. And a lot of us are going through the same thing. You admit it. Your best friend that you fell out with, that bothered you. You're not in communication with your family anymore. You're not in communication with your mother, your father. You have issues with your siblings. You have a job that you were working, but you're no longer working. And you left the church. These are things that you grieve. You act like, because you're big and bad, that you can just move on and none of this will affect you. That is not the truth. This stuff hurts. This stuff hurts you, and it's not just that you can move on and you got another friend. I know we say this, I'm big and bad all by myself. I don't need them. It's just me and God. And, we put little statuses up and we go off on person, but that stuff hurts when you're no longer in fellowship with someone that you've shared so much of your secrets with. You've shared so much of your triumphs and your trials with, right? And then boom, they're no longer there anymore. You don't think that you need a little time to grieve that? You don't think that situation no longer being there is going to affect you? You don't think that your kids used to play with their kids and now your kids are affected? You think that you gave so much of your time, your money, your talent, your resources to this church, and boom, you're no longer at this church anymore. My brother, who did not text me back, Pastor Javante, and Jamel is on too, but Pastor Jamal, and you did not text me back, and it's okay. I am perfectly fine with it. I'm grieving right now. My brother did not text me back, and I asked him a very simple question. Anywho, but you're grieving. And I had to go through that, and I'm over here frustrated, mad, taking it out on everybody else, which I realized that I was the problem. I'm the one that was the issue. It wasn't anybody else but me. I was the problem. I'm the issue. I'm the one. And within all of that, it causes you to think. So I'm going to give you 10 reasons why you're grieving, and it's not about death. And I really want you to, I'm the pastor that's going to tell you to get into therapy, get a confidant, get somebody you could talk to because you need some help with this. You need some help for this. Oh, grace, whatever. More grace. That's what they say, right? The first reason you're grieving and it's not about death is it could be loss of identity. Life changes like a career shift. Moving to a new place or ending a friendship can make you feel disconnected from your previous self. Granted, I'll give you last year, 2023 me, right? I'm doing good in New York City. Boom, I end up in Nashville for a whole year. It was so unexpected, happened so quick. A lot ended up happening, but it was a blessing in disguise, right? Nashville saved my life. Nashville was a saving grace for me. God really ministered and helped me in Nashville, right? I was in New York City doing good. Boom, I end up in Nashville with this big opportunity, making way more money than I was making in New York City. And God just kind of set everything up. And it was an amazing year. I was in Nashville last week. Nashville is one of my favorite cities in the world now. But that was a year of me being there, right? So boom, I go through this whole thing because my life, my church, my family, my friends, I get boom put in this city where I really didn't know a lot of people, but it ended up being something good. So I had to go through this identity shift because I'm like, man, everything that I know is gone, right? I was still with Marriott, but I was with a whole new chain that I had never worked at before. It was different for me. So I went through this period of like, what is going on? Trying to find new friends, all of that. Boom, happens again. Happened to me in June. I go from Nashville, which I actually like now, got a good number of friends, I really had a good social life. I haven't had a good social life in a long time. I had a great social life. I had people in church. It was just perfect. Business relationships, great. Really, and it was easy for me to travel to Philly every week from Nashville for church. It was perfect. Boom. Then I end up having some opportunities. I get the option of Atlanta. I get the option of DC. All these stuff is put on my plate, and I'm like, perfect. I could do Atlanta. It's easy to get to Philly. I could do DC. That's a short train ride. I'm thinking about everything. These are some of my cities that I got friends here. I got everything. And then boom, none of those opportunities work out, and I end up in Providence, Rhode Island. Like, why? Why am I in Providence, Rhode Island? I came here. I thought everybody told me, oh, it's nothing but white people, all of this kind of stuff. I just thought it was going to be horrible, right? So I go in June, I get into this dark place again because boom, everything that I know it, right? Everything God has done for me is feel like I have to start over from the beginning again. I just did a lot. Now I'm starting over from the beginning. Now I got to meet new people. I got to get new people at work to be cool with. I got to find new friends and all of these things, right? So my identity, so I start going through this grief process because now I like Nashville. When I first got there, I didn't like it. Now I love it. And now what I like is being taken away from me. And I got to start over again. And I'm like, God, why do you keep doing this? And God is like, well, you asked for this job. You know you're supposed to be in a place. The problem is I got relationships. I got comfortable. And now my comfortability is being snatched from me. So I start going through this grieving process in June, but I'm still dealing with, I have to work. I got to make it work. I got to go through all of this. And some of you are at the same point of your life. It's like, wow, I got to keep going though. I got to keep leading. I got to keep preaching. I got to keep singing. I got to keep doing this, even though you're going through your process. Another thing is the end of a relationship. Talk about this a little bit. Talk about my friends that I'm no longer friends with. Breakups, divorces, or even growing apart from friends can lead to a profound grief. And as you adjust to the loss of companionship and being familiar with people, loss of routine or stability, that's losing your job, your health, your home can disrupt your sense of safety and normalcy, creating feelings of loss and uncertainty. Or another one is unfulfilled dreams or goals. Like when you reach a point in your life and you realize certain dreams may no longer be achievable. That hit me, right? You are like, that hit me at 30. When I came 30, I knew I had this ideal of what my life should be. Right? I just thought that my life was supposed to be this certain way. And when I hit 30, I had not achieved none of it. That's why birthdays for me, birthdays are supposed to be a time of celebration. I absolutely hate my birthdays. And I think I've said this in a post. I hate birthdays and I hate church anniversaries. Those are two things that I hate because those should be a time of celebration. But most of the time for pastors and leaders, it becomes a time of like, what are we doing? And sometimes people don't celebrate you at the level that you feel that they should. And that also creates disappointment because you thought that you were something bigger in the person's life than what you really are. That is hard. That is hard when you think that this person is really supposed to celebrate you on this big task and they don't. It's hard. It's so hard. It messes you up because you're like, man, what am I doing here? Those are things that will mess you up. And that's what I was dealing with. I just felt like I'm supposed to do this much. And every birthday becomes a reminder. And I've had some horrible birthdays, right? I've had birthdays. This year was almost horrible, but my crew saved it, right? I have had some horrible birthdays, but birthdays are a time of self-reflection. What did I do with my life for the last 365 days? And if you didn't do what you thought you should have did, boom, you're in a mode of depression now. Now you're depressed. Now you're upset. Now things are not the way that you thought they were supposed to be because you did not accomplish as much as you should have accomplished in the last year. And it messes you up. Now you are messed up. You didn't think, you thought, I put it like this. I ain't talking about nobody because I can't even barely see who's on here. You thought that you was going to lose that 50 pounds with no help. I'm not talking about a surgery, Ozempic. You just thought you was going to be in the gym and you thought you was going to do that, right? And you didn't do it. So now your birthday comes and you realize you gained 15, 20 pounds instead of losing what you wanted to lose. Now you're depressed for the next year and you go back into your eating or you go back into whatever your coping mechanism is to get you through your grieving process, right? Everybody has a coping mechanism. I had some coping mechanisms as I was going through my grieving process. There were things that I normally wouldn't do, but now I'm doing because this is what I need to help me because I don't understand I'm grieving even though I really am. So I'm going through some hard stuff, right? I'm grieving. I'm going through some stuff right now, and I don't even realize because no one's died in my life, right? Nothing crazy is happening at this point. So what ends up happening is now I fall into, I wish I was on Zoom so I could really talk like I want to talk because I don't want nobody to screen record this. But I started to fall into different things that I normally would never do, right? I'm doing stuff that because I'm trying to cope with the fact that the person's no longer there, that I'm no longer in the city I'm supposed to be in. I'm dealing with all of this kind of stuff and it hurts. So you start leaning to other devices. You start leaning to other things to help you cope, right? Some of it you spend excessively. Some of it you lean to drinking or you lean to smoking. You lean to different things. There are different things that you start leaning into that you would not normally do, but now you're doing it because you are coping with what you're trying to deal with. And you don't realize because no one has physically died in your life. You think that you're doing stuff that you normally wouldn't do, but you think that, oh, this is just what I'm doing. No, you're coping with it because you're dealing with real life stuff. So now you're coping with this stuff. That was me. I was coping. It was very unhealthy. You get unhealthy habits. Your sleeping pattern gets all messed up. There are things that you do, but you only do it because you're coping with some real stuff, right? It's real. So that's what I deal with every birthday. I started dealing with stuff. Now I'm determined starting this year. I said in 2025, I said that my birthdays are going to be different. I'm going on a trip. I'm not having no services. I'm not having no parties. I'm going to take myself on a trip and I'm going to enjoy myself because it's about time that you start doing stuff for you. It's about time that you start doing stuff for you. And this is what I had to realize. So that's unfulfilled dreams and visions. Number 5, loss of health or abilities. Experiencing health issues or losing physical or mental abilities can be deeply upsetting as you adapt to a new reality. So you start having health challenges. You're no longer as fast as you used to be fast. Your back is hurting now. You're dealing with diabetes. You're dealing with different things. I started dealing with health challenges, different things. They will mess you up, right? My mother has a genetic disease. Then I started having traits of a genetic disease. Then I'm in the doctors. I'm getting tests done. I'm on medicine. I'm on steroids. So now your life, because of stuff happens, you get older, things happen to you, right? So now that also causes you to have issues. So now you're starting to grieve. And like I said, these 5 things I've done so far, none of this is about death. And some of us are in a state of grief. And tonight, I want you to turn your mourning into dancing. I want you to put a garment of praise for the spirit of heaviness on because you got to come out of this because you're too successful. You're too anointed. You're too gifted to be stuck because of who's not there no more or because you don't realize what you're feeling and you're not dealing with yourself as a leader. Leaders need to be healthy. We preach to other people. We teach to other people. We're leading other people, but you're not healthy because you're dealing with all of this foolishness and all of this drama and all of this junk, and it's messing you up as a person. All right. Let's move on to number 6 because I got 9 minutes and I'm at my time. Changing relationships with family. Oh, that is a big one. All right. Can I be transparent? Changing relationships with family, shifting in family dynamics, like children growing up, parents aging, or changing family roles can create sense of loss or even falling out with your family. Some of you fall out with your family. I fell out with my family. I'll be honest, right? Fell out with my family, was not in fellowship or communication with my family. That is a new normal. That is a new normal when you stop talking to your family members, right? Or you feel like your family members do not. A lot of us went through this. I went through this where I just felt like a lot of part of my family did not respect me. They just saw me as little DJ. They didn't see me as Darren or Pastor Darren or Overseer Darren, however you ascribe to me as. So I had to create some healthy boundaries with my family, right? Probably gonna get in trouble with this, but I had to create healthy boundaries. I had to say, hey, I love y'all, but I got to love you from a distance, right? Because respect has to be given. So I had to create healthy boundaries with a big portion of my family. That was rough. That was rough because you're used to picking up the phone when you need help, when you need this, you need that. And then you got to stand on your own 2 feet in order for your boundaries to be established. A lot of you have gone through that with your siblings, with your parents, with grandparents, with aunts, uncles, cousins, whatever the family dynamic may be. You had to create some healthy boundaries. You had to create some healthy boundaries. I had to do it. It's hard. It is hard, but you have to do it even when it's your family. You have to create healthy boundaries with your family, but it's going to cause you to grieve. Because when you're used to hanging with a person, flying to see a person, spending Thanksgivings and Christmases with them, and then you have to, the Lord's leading you one way, they're doing something else, they don't respect you, they don't honor you, they don't do none of that kind of stuff. And you got to create a boundary. That hurts because you've got to stand on your own and you've got to watch them go on and do as normal, and you got to create a new normal, right? Now you got to create a new normal, and you got to see them go on about their life and live their life happily. It's crazy. I've been there. I've done it. I walked through it. It's rough, but boundaries are necessary. And it's sometimes your boundary will cause you to grieve. So now you're in a sense of grief, shock, loss, because what you once have is not there. But I'm telling you, it hurts so bad. I went through it, right? I cried about it. Almost went back to unhealthy and toxic relationships with your family members because you're used to it, right? That's the excuse cannot be, but that's my family. That cannot be your excuse. That's just my family. Well, it's family. That's what people told me. Well, it's family. You only get one family. You only get this. You only get that. If you don't move on, move on. Oh, but that's your family. You know, family sticks together. A family that prays together will stay together. Will you shut up? That's like what I want to be like. Just shut up. You sound crazy. They're disrespecting you. They cussing you out. They breaking up your relationship. They don't respect your spouse. They don't respect your children. They don't respect where you go to church. They don't respect your way of life. They don't respect nothing you do. And you just saying, well, that's my family. You sound just as stupid as them. It's abuse, but we're used to abuse. It's toxic. It's toxic. No, I love y'all, but I got to love you from a distance. And that's just how it is. Because at the end of the day, all you got is you. And you got to look out for your mental health. You got to look out for your abilities. I had a friend last year, August, July of last year, tell me that I was selfish because I was prioritizing my mental health. Haven't talked to her since. Don't know where she's at. Go with God. Hope she's well. Oh, well. But that was my method. I had to, Marion, I had to cut him off. I have not talked to her in over a year. And I don't plan on talking to her, right? If I see her, God bless you, I keep it moving. You know why? Because if you don't prioritize my mental health and I'm telling you, hey, I need a break, right? I'm quiet, but I'm good. I need to recover. I'm in therapy. I'm helping myself, right? I'm getting myself healthy. And you say you're selfish. All you care about is yourself. And I'm trying to fight. But you have people like that. You have leeches, people in your life that will just suck you dry, literally. Take everything that you give and will never pour back into you, will never recharge you. That's friendships you don't need. You need intercessors as friends. I think that's going to be one of my next 10 reasons why. 10 reasons why you need intercessors as friends. I'll do that tomorrow. I'm going to work on that tonight. You need intercessors as friends, not just people that are going to take from you. And you also need friends that can say, hey, something's going on with you. Are you okay? Do I need to fly in to see you? Do I need to come to where you're at? Do I need to buy you a ticket to come see me? That's the kind of friend I am, right? I'll fly my friends in. Hey, you need a weekend. Just come out. I'm going to buy the ticket. I got you. And for this weekend, we going to hang together. We going to fellowship. I'm going to take you out, right? I'm going to get your mind off things. We're going to talk because you need a reset. But a lot of us don't have friends like that. The friends we have, they you down, and they're trying to compete and tell you a story. Words. Me and my best friend, we talk about one of our friends. One of the things he does is when you got a problem, he got a problem greater than yours. So it's like you're trauma bonding, right? I got a problem worse than you. So he's going back and forth, and we're trying to outdo each other with what we got going on. Trauma bonding. How many of you are friends because you got trauma? Trauma is what brought y'all together. As long as there's trauma, y'all good. But when you start getting healthy, when you start getting whole, and you don't want to go out and drink anymore, and you don't want to do this no more, you don't want to do all of that kind of stuff, then they switch up on you because they're bound to you by the trauma that you're feeling. It's trauma filled. It is trauma filled relationships, and a lot of us have these relationships filled with trauma. Okay, I got 4 minutes, so let me finish up here, because I knew I wasn't going to get to all of my points that I want to make. Loss of a pet. I'm not really a pet person. I got one pet I'm in love with, and if something happened to him, I probably would have a problem with. But loss of a pet, because pets are like family members, so you grieve that. There's nothing to do with a loss of a person. Changes in friendship circles, moving, changing jobs, or simply growing apart from your friends can leave you feeling a void where those relationships once were. I'm going through that right now, right? 9, life transitions and aging, changing phases in life, and realizing the time has passed can lead to a form of grief over what could have been. Talked about that a little bit earlier. I got a little ahead of myself, but that's when, like I said, I turned 30. I went through this thing like I'm not married. I don't have kids. All of my friends are married. All of my friends are having kids. All of my friends own this. All of my friends own that. I started going through that. I started realizing at 30 that I did nothing that I thought I would do by 30. But I had spent all of my life serving others. But I didn't feel like none of that was for me. That's what I was going through. So I went through this whole grief process at 30. I was a mess. 30, really, the last couple of years, it just took me to get out of it. But it really hit me, right? Because I had all of this stuff going on, and I didn't realize that I was grieving it, right? Number 10, environmental or cultural loss. Losing a sense of belonging in a place of culture and feeling disconnected from a community can create a grieving process. So that can be, hey, PP, I see you. Hey, Councilwoman. Losing a sense of belonging into a place. So that's like you leave your church, right? You leave your church, you go to another church, you have a grieving process. And excuse me, I come out of my home church, the first church I ever been a part of, right? It was almost like when you left the church, you were like an outcast, outsider, right? So I left my first church at like 14, 15 years old. Just my views ain't aligned with the church anymore, right? I knew Jesus. I wanted Jesus, but where I was at, I knew I needed more, right? So I'm like 14 without a church home, searching for a church. It was a very wild experience, right? But the Lord brought me through that for a reason. But like I said, y'all, I'm 14, 15 years old. I heard God, and I knew that where I was at was not where I was supposed to be. I knew that there was so much more that God had for me. I don't think I ever publicly shared this story. So I'm going through, and some of them I'm friends with. So, it is. They'll probably move me as a friend, but I'm going to talk about it. And I'm getting off here after this. So I started to experience God in a different way, started to deal with me prophetically. I didn't go to a church that really believed in prophets. They didn't really believe in the works of the fivefold gifts. So we didn't have a lot of prophets or nothing like that in our church. And if y'all know me, I'm very prophetic in my ministry. The vibe is definitely a prophetic church, definitely a church with healing and deliverance and casting out demons, all of that kind of stuff. We work in the apostolic, the fivefold. So my church we were apostolic, but we really didn't operate in all of the gifts like that. And I just wanted to do a little bit more. And I was a little more attracted to churches that operated on that level. So I decided to leave. My grandparents allowed me to leave, and I go to another church, right? But I also felt at 14, 15 years old, there was a sense of like grief that I was dealing with at the age of 14. Now, this is about 20 years ago, right? At the age of 14, I'm dealing with this sense of grief because I'm no longer part of the community that I once was a part of, right? So I went to church with these people. I've been with these people since I'm a baby, and bam, I leave, go to a sister church, still in fellowship, but it was different. Dynamics of relationships change. And I'm 14. If I knew what I knew now, I would have navigated this totally better. But I'm going through an identity crisis because what I know, the people I know, the community that I know is now snatched from me. And now, even though I'm still in the neighborhood, I have to develop a new community where I'm at. God was setting me up for my future, had no clue. He was setting me up for my adulthood, for me to go to, I moved to Delaware several years later, right? No, nobody in the city but one person. I knew one person in the city, knew nobody else, right? And God allowed me to establish community, family, but that happened because I knew what to do when I was 14 and everything I knew was snatched from me. Didn't know that I was going to have a job that moved me around the country. I was going to have to go in different communities. I was going to pastor a church. I knew none of that at 13, 14 years old. But God established me, and I had to deal with it early. So a lot of things I dealt with, trauma from my dad to different things, family issues, and everything as a child. God was setting me up for my adulthood. So grieve well. Grieve well. My time is up, but grieve well. I know you're going through some stuff, right? I know you have a lot going on in your life, but you got to grieve well. That's exactly what you have to do. You got a lot of stuff going on, but you got to do it well. Grieve well. You need to feel so that you can heal. And until you feel this, you'll never heal. But you got to feel so you can heal. Until you do that, you'll never understand. You've got to feel. And I love y'all. I'm praying for y'all. I hope I said something tonight that really encouraged you. All right. I really hope that this was good for you tonight. I hope that something blessed you. We'll be back until the book is released. The book is done, y'all. The book is done. Pray for me that I get all the money I need to do this the right way. But the book is done. It'll be out on Black Friday, which is November the 29th, I believe it is. Yes, November the 29th, it will be out. So please just support me as much as you can. Feel, deal so that you heal. Yes, Councilwoman, you have to deal with this stuff. You're feeling this stuff, but you got to deal with it. Until you deal with it, you will never heal. And it's uncomfortable. It's really an uncomfortable space. I've had to deal with it myself. I'm telling you, it is not easy, but you got to go through it. You got to feel this so you can heal. Those of you that want to sow tonight, you can sow into the Vibe Church. I thank you for your support. We are doing some very different things in ministry. God is shifting us. I did not know that when I started this 10 Reasons Why journey that I was going to deal with so much pushback and stuff that I've had. But I'm telling you, the support has been amazing, and you all have helped me to release a book, to do this. It's going to be really good. We got a 10 Reasons Why church tour that's coming in 2025. I'll be at some ministries, and it's going to be really, really good regionally. We're going to have some summits where we come together and we figure this thing out together. So I'm so thankful. I love you all, and grieve well. Grieve well. You're going to get through this season. It's just a season. But weeping may endure for a night, but joy comes in the morning. That means that there's a time frame. There's a time limit on what you're going through. You'll get new friends. God will repair your relationship with your family. Give it some time. God will give you a brand new community of people. I'm telling you, I have a great community. I love my Vibe family. I would not trade them for anybody in the world. But I found something in the Vibe, even though I know you're like, well, you created that culture. No, I found something in my Vibe family that I could not find anywhere. We're from different backgrounds. Some of us grew up in church. Some of us didn't. We got different jobs, different tax brackets, different things. We got people that make a whole lot of money, but when we come together, none of that matters. It's just a place of healing. And you need to find your tribe. I found mine. I ain't going nowhere. I found my tribe. I'm doing life with people that just get me, right? You need to find your tribe. Seek community. Some of you are in churches and you're grieving because you supposed to been leave your church years ago. Now, I don't want your pastor coming after me, but you knew you're just there out of obligation. You are there out of obligation, not because God wants you to be there or that's the place, and you're going through grief because you're out of order. There is a sense of grief and a sense of sorrow that you will deal with when you're out of the will of God. You're out of the will of God and you're dealing with this because that's why you're grieving, because you're operating out of disobedience. Because delayed obedience is still disobedience. Okay, I'm out on that, y'all. I see y'all Wednesday night. We'll continue this. Join me tomorrow for 10 reasons why. And we're going to deal with that tomorrow. I love y'all. Praying for you. Have an amazing night. Love y'all.